So, Carl, we were saying obviously off air that we've met before, although I'm not sure you remember. But I think
I don't, and I don't know what the protocol is in this industry. A lot of people say you're meant to sort of go, "Oh yeah," but I just think that's lying is the worst thing you can do because you're just digging a bigger hole. So you're better off just from the outset. It was the screening, wasn't it, that you were at? You said,
yeah, first series.
Well, my head at screenings, honestly, I'm terrified. I'm nervous. It's not my environment that I'm happy in. So don't take it the wrong way that I don't remember you. But there was quite a lot of people there. And in this industry, there's a lot of people hanging around who go, I don't know what you do.
You were probably having that moment at the bar, that slight bit of peace.
I don't even remember having time to be at a bar. This was after it.
This was after the screening, so we've seen episodes 1 and 2.
I do remember it now. So it's in that other room.
But there was a few people sort of lurking around. I was like, I'm a huge fan of your previous work.
You were with someone?
I was with 2 girls, 2 influencers, yeah.
You're doing a good job of pretending.
Slightly, no, I've just remembered then.
I'm quite sad that we captured Carl remembering this interaction because I really enjoyed it previously when it was just...
He doesn't remember.
Absolutely no recollection.
It's the story of my life.
It blocked it out because obviously it wasn't important to my brain. It wasn't a big highlight of my life, and it's gone. But it's interesting how the brain still remembered it when you explained it a bit more and a bit more and a bit more.
The visual cues reminded you of being in the situation.
Yeah, it's really weird, that.
I think Tom was probably having one of those moments where he forgot that you could see him, so he was just staring at you.
Yeah.
I just think the whole famous thing is ridiculous, and I'm not comfortable even you being a fan, in a way.
My first audition was for Nanny McPhee, and as a kid, I was like, I know what this film is. Nanny McPhee 2, the first one to come out, and I was like, And then when this show called Game of Thrones came along, I was like, what is that? That sounds crazy. And then obviously it became, there's not a single person in the world that doesn't know what the show, I guess there's a lot of people, but this show has become,
enormous.
It's just, so massive now. And not only did I, become an actor, which, there's hundreds of thousands of people who are trying to become an actor, but I also became an actor on the most successful TV show that was going.
Yeah.
How does it feel when you look back on that all? Because I suppose when you're in the moment, you're just living it and you're just getting through. But now I suppose it's been, a year and a bit since it came to an end. Like now you've had the chance to step back. How does it feel looking back at that time?
I think at the time I found it so bonkers, and I think just being like a teenager is really hard anyway. And then I was also on this show and I felt really insecure, like every teenager does, and like all the body issues. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, like it was pretty crazy. So it's fine that you felt that way. But at the time I was like, I should just be able to cope with this. Like this should just be something that I can do. And actually, like, there was no one who had any real advice, because even the adults on the show who had, who were successful actors before this, they had never experienced, like, something of this scale. So they were kind of a bit like, I don't know what to tell you. This is insane. So, yeah, I think looking back, it's like I kind of accept the way that I dealt with it.
It seems like, I think it's well documented, your journey and your experiences and the struggles of obviously going through, being a teenager on such a huge show. Yeah. But the one thing that seems really nice is that in the last sort of year or so, you seem to have really embraced who you are and sort of been very comfortable in loving yourself and expressing that. Is that naturally evolved, or has that hit a point where it just suddenly clicked?
Yeah, no, I think there's no way that you can like really do any serious work on your mental health if there's no time or space in your life to dedicate to that, because it really is like you have to put time into it. And the first steps of like changing your life is like the things that you do day to day, and like creating space. And like once the show was over, there was a lot of pressure was off to work, and I had a lot more time to myself, and that starts as like a really terrifying thing, and you fill it with like things that aren't good for you, and like you kind of what we were saying at the beginning of lockdown, you're just like trying to fill your time with things because you're so terrified to be alone with your own thoughts. And then just like that sort of wears old, and you keep asking yourself some questions. And yeah, I think it's just got to the point now where I forgive myself for, like, you know, for everything that I've said, everything that I've done, the person that I was, or the person that I tried to be or wanted to be, and I've just like become a lot happier with the person that I am.
A plot twist. I don't know if it would meet the definition of plot twist, because the plot for me was, I wanted to be an actor, but certainly I was not exclusively known for comedy. You'd done
stage work, and
I'd done stage work a lot in Chicago and at uni, and I'd done some comedy in TV and like guest star roles, but also some drama. Like NYPD Blue was one of my first real breaks. So I guess the plot twist in that, getting the break that was Friends was personally and professionally a huge, life-changing event. And in a way, obviously it was the best job ever up until now. And seriously. But in another way, it was life-altering in maybe not the most positive of ways, the total loss of privacy. And suddenly, because the show became so successful so quickly, it kind of eradicated all my other work, so it was as if professionally I was born with that show, that I hadn't done nothing prior. So that was challenging
hard to take in a way,
too.
I suppose.
It was just challenging, and again, I'm not complaining. It was the best gift ever, but and the work and the environment was really fun and collaborative and a wonderful experience. But in that way, it was a big, I guess, plot twist.
Because didn't Jim Burrows, you guys go to Las Vegas, I think it's just about to take off, and he says, enjoy this moment, and he gives you some money to go out in the casinos and says, enjoy this moment because life's never going to be the same after this.
Yeah, yes, famously he did say that. It was, we had landed, we were in the casino, we were about to, the six of us, be in public for the first time together.
Oh, I see, okay.
And none of us took it seriously. He was like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. And at that night, actually, no one really recognized it. You know what I mean? It was not a big deal. But very shortly after that,
he blew up.
He was right.
Wow.
I just wanted to go back to where you guys spoke about hitmen and the fact that you rang each other to say, how can we get out of this 4 days beforehand?
Literally.
Speaking of those sort of sliding door moments, I also read that you guys nearly quit the Great British Bake Off on day one.
Yep.
Is that true?
Absolutely true.
Yeah, 10 a.m. day 2. So we did first day, which was all very intense, and everyone was crying a lot, and everyone was asking very serious questions, and it was all a bit early doors X Factor. It was part of that period in British television where they sort of thought if you asked about a dead relative that would be a great way to get into somebody's psyche and head. And we just saw so many people crying. We just thought, no, I don't think this is for us, really. We just want to make people happy. So, yeah, we did. We walked out and... do
you know what we did, mate? What we did? And
we called a meeting.
We called a ruddy meeting in the B&B. We were staying in this B&B and we said, right, we want to have a meeting and discuss what we think, how this show's going.
It was a youth hostel. It wasn't a B&B. It was a youth hostel. Do you remember? I think Beza got bed bugs from it.
It was in Kingham. It was in Kingham, where where this country is set. It was in Kingham, mate.
Yeah.
We just thought, we don't want the show to be like this. We want the show to be fun and kind, and we want it to sort of feel organic so that stuff isn't kind of shoved in people's faces and they're forced to react in a certain way. And we got quite adamant about it, actually. And I'm glad, because I hope, anyway, that we had some...
we're never going to be the funniest people. We're never going to be the smartest people. But I hope we can at least be up there with kind people. And we always sort of felt that we're very used to a studio or environment and cameras. That's our office. But for other people, it's really intimidating.
Daunting.
It's really intimidating. There were 10 cameras on that show, whether they were lipstick cameras, little ones for a crumb cam, we'd call them, or whether the big jib that pulls out and gets those big kind of overview shots. And all the handhelds and all in the face, in the puddings, I think I did a documentary once, slight sidebar about chimpanzees who'd been released from testing facilities, and the guy a head of the American research facility said we realised with the chimpanzees we were testing stress, not the effects of medication. And I always think about that because I think sometimes you put people under duress in television programs, you're just testing their stress levels. You're not testing whether they're the best baker. You're not and it really stuck with me because, I'm so sick of seeing things where you're just looking at an adrenalized response to a situation. Whereas if you just take all that out, and I hate the word jeopardy, the idea that all programs are about jeopardy. Is the biscuit tower going to fall? Are they going to fall backwards into the river? I'm done with it. I actually just think let people feel calm and they will give you who they are much quicker and much easier, and you'll get a much more real sense of what we're all like and about.